Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Siri Strumman. I'm a Lutheran pastor and a spiritual seeker. And today I'm going to talk about how we can heal, redeem, and restore our relationship to money. What does that mean? Take a listen. In the last few years, I've had several teachers who have talked about redeeming and restoring and getting over issues that I have with money. And for a long time, I didn't really know what they meant. They talked about inheriting certain beliefs about money, which were not helpful, which were not really good for me and my life, and were not really good for the world. And it took me a really long time to figure out what exactly they meant by that. And one of the writing prompts that one of my teachers gave me, which was really cool, was to sit down with my journal and to talk to money like they're a person. And I thought that was really interesting. So I got myself in a nice meditative state, and I had my journal, and I began to have this like Q&A. And this really beautiful experience happened where that energy of money, which I called Jade, like this beautiful woman, began to sort of tell me her story. And what she told me was that way at the beginning of human civilization and humans really being communities, there was maybe a lot of trading that went back and forth. You know, I've got corn, you've got sheep, we're going to trade, and in the process, hopefully we're both happy. And over time, money came as an abstract substitution for that trading. Now, ideally, that abstract representation, which allowed for buying and selling, was meant to continue with this really healthy, respectful, collaborative flow of exchange. Giving and receiving, everybody's happy. Everybody walks away. Hello, how are you? May I have this? Yes. How about this? Yes, very good. So ideally, there's nothing wrong with money. It's just an abstract way for people to give and to receive things. We know this got corrupted. And so what happened is we got this split between two different worldviews of money, and see which one you find yourself more in. My guess is you find yourself in both. So the one thing that split was that money was basically co-opted by this universal human consciousness of competition and us against them and greed and sort of all those sort of negative parts of the human consciousness. And money basically turned into a weapon that you could use against others. So all of a sudden, instead of it being this beautiful exchange back and forth, someone would get a bad deal. And then a law would be passed where someone got more money than somebody else. And all of a sudden, inequality and unfairness was introduced into the world of money. And where this beautiful energy, this beautiful feminine energy of making sure everyone's needs are taken care of, making sure everyone has what they need, suddenly changed into some people have a lot and some people have very little. And this has been around for thousands of years in cultures all over the world, unnecessarily, because we've had cultures that have known how to take care of each other and how to live in abundance in a good way together. So naturally, people criticized this greed, hoarding, money is God perspective, which is still very, very much around today. In fact, I believe that one of the huge energies in the United States' system is to worship money. We do worship money as a culture. We talk about the economy as being like the most important thing. Not if children are being fed, not how much homelessness there is and if that's being taken care of, not how people's souls and spirits are doing. What's the happiness reporting in the United States? No, it's the economy. And the economy is, are the richest of the rich continuing to make money? So clearly, that greed and that hoarding aspect and passing laws so that, you know, it's legal to do things of white collar crime and blah, 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 blah. Yes, money can be a god. but that doesn't make money evil. In reaction to this energy that's been around for thousands of years, there have been other people who've had a completely different mindset in reaction to that, where they've said, you know what, money has caused a lot of problems. It's the root of a lot of evil. The Bible never says money is evil. It says it's the root of all kinds of evil. And sure, greed is not great. Hoarding is not great. Cheating people, stealing, even if you live in a fancy house and you wage theft, it's still stealing. And so you had this whole energy of people who had deep spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs of love and compassion who wanted to leave behind money. And so we see this sometimes in Jesus's actions and his words. We see this in the monastic community, although not always and not consistently. But we see this in different religions as well. This idea of to be good and holy is to sort of renounce things of the world. And I talk about this in other videos, how this can be helpful and it can also be very destructive in some ways because it rejects the relationship we have with our bodies, with the world, with our incarnation, and the fact that in this world, there are things we deal with. We have bodies, we have food, we have clothing, we have houses, and to pretend that they're all bad or we shouldn't like them or shouldn't want them has not done us any favors. In some ways, I see this other point of view as an anorexic point of view, that poverty is good, money is bad, being without is holy. And I don't think that's healthy. So here we have these two worldviews, one in which money is God, and this other view that says money is bad. And neither one of them represents what I described at the very beginning, this beautiful interchange of collaboration and fairness and equality and equity. So what would it look like to go back to that? What would it look like if we decided we didn't want people living in poverty and people hoarding wealth and to feel guilty about wanting to go on vacation because a good, holy person isn't supposed to like money? What would it look like if we redeemed and restored and healed our relationship with money? Well, first of all, it would mean genuinely going back to this sense of relationship and sharing and abundance. Realizing that there is enough for all of us to have what we need, plus some good things that we want as well. Maybe there's not enough for a few people to have a ridiculously dragon hoarding wealth type of thing so that other people are left in poverty. But honestly, if we were all looking out for each other and we all wanted everybody else to thrive as well, there would be enough. There's enough on this planet if we're really looking out for each other, for everybody to have a home, for everybody to have food, for everybody to have clothes, and for everybody to have free time and downtime. There is enough. And when we start thinking about, I'm worthy and I deserve to have good things, and they're worthy, they deserve to have good things. And we start to detox and de-invest our thoughts about who's worthy and who's unworthy of having their basic needs met. And we start to question thoughts about, do I need to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to be able to afford rent on a 2-bedroom apartment? Nope, that's insane. That's insane. We've been conditioned like frogs in a boiling water to have certain understandings about what we're worth and what's okay and what's normal and how money is used. We can question all of these messages, all of them, every single one of them. They don't have to be real. We literally created the system that we have now, and we can create a completely different system, one that is based on collaboration, on sharing, on everybody having their needs met. There is absolutely enough resources and money in our country and in this world for everybody to be taken care of. And whatever in us is stopping us from going, yeah, but Yeah, but question that. Put that in writing. What are all your yeah buts? And question that. Because this beautiful energy of money is really like the earth saying, I want to take care of you. This beautiful energy of money is, hey, this is an abstract thing that can shape, shift, and change into all sorts of cool things. So it's playful. It can be playful and joyous and make everybody happy. I mean, what would you do with more money in this world? Who would benefit? I know that's another writing prompt that I've done is I thought, if I won $1 million, what would I genuinely do with that? Well, certainly I would send some of that money into a bank account and into savings. I would share a lot of it with nonprofits I absolutely love. And I would spend the money in super ethical companies of clothing and food and other things that cost kind of a little bit more money because they are more sustainable and ethical. And it would be so fun to be able to support the nonprofits and the businesses and the people who I think are changing the world. In other words, the more money I get, the more I can spend that money out in the world in a good and beautiful way, restoring that relationship that goes like this. So if more and more loving, compassionate, empathetic, and ethical people are able to grow in their financial abundance and restore this beautiful relationship we have with ourselves and with the world and with our neighbors, the better things are. So money is a very emotional issue for us. We've had a lot of messages. It's tied up in our worthiness. It's tied up in all sorts of feelings of what's fair and what's just. There's a lot of religious messages telling us that you shouldn't want money, you shouldn't like money, because then you're worshiping it. There is more than just the dichotomy of money is a god and money is bad. The world is not that black and white. There's this beautiful in-between, this beautiful redemption that we can do where we look at the earth and we look at our bodies and we look at food and we look at clothing and we look at money and we look at relationships and we look at sexuality as not whether it's in its worst negative form that we have to reject, but rather as beautiful parts of this world that we can have continue to be beautiful, that we can allow to make this world a better place. So there's so much more that could be talked about. People are doing really good work in bringing forth these deep unconscious messages that we have embodied about what money is and who's allowed to have it and who's not and blah, blah, blah. But I invite you to question it a little bit. I invite you to journal. I invite you to sit down with money as an energy. What would you call him or her? What conversations might you have with them? What can you let go of? What doesn't fit? What do you, when you see the world and you look out and you go, this can't be the way it's going to be. What could the world look like in 50 years? That's completely different from what it looks like now in a good and beautiful way. If everyone woke up tomorrow empathetic, what would change? A lot would change. And would there still be money in 50 years? Maybe. But there would be ethical use of money and people would be thriving and, again, able to do that playful energy, that joyful energy would be reintroduced back into the world. Just let your imagination go a little bit and see how you in your life and your relationship with money can be healed just a little bit more. That's what I have for you right now. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you enjoyed this video, please like or share or subscribe or comment, let me know, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.